Hi, my name is Glory. I'm a second-year student studying at the Bartlett School of Architecture in London, originally from Hong Kong.
And I'm Yan Shan, a second-year architecture student, and I'm into musicals, oil painting, movies, and embarrassingly into self-help and Richie biscuits.
You're listening to Designing Thoughts with the Archi Gals, a podcast where we talk about working and creativity, living well, the human condition with relationships, and life experiences. Before we get into the podcast, I would just like to ask for a small favor. It would mean a lot to us if you could leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or leave a comment on our YouTube channel just to let us know how you feel about the podcast and other topics you'd be interested in hearing in. Hi everyone, welcome back to our podcast. Today we're in person together, so we're sharing a mic today. And so I'm your host Glory, and this is my co-host Yan Shan. And today we're gonna do a weekly catch-up first. And because I think it's good to go through our third year, week by week, see how it goes. And then we'll talk about, mental health this week, kind of how that links to uni, and then us studying in architecture and how that all links together. So hope this will be interesting. So how was your week, Yanshan?
It was pretty fun.
Yeah,
I had a pretty good week. But in terms of studio, I guess it was not good at the start because of, because my tutorial days on Thursday, so I always get stressed out Tuesday, Wednesday, and then
the build up until Thursday with your tutorials,
and then Thursday it's release of tension, and then I'm happy today because today's Friday, and then I'll be sad again next Tuesday and Thursday.
It's so just the cycle.
Right now, it's the peak of my cycle.
Yeah, it's the cycle of doing work and tutorials, I guess. Yeah, I'm glad your week was nice in terms of hanging out with people, because you told me that you did a lot of fun stuff this week, so it's nice.
Today.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
No, yesterday. Yeah, you had
Yeah, but that was just yesterday. To be fair, the rest of the week was alright.
Okay, yeah, but alright is already something to be happy about, that it's alright.
Yeah.
But yeah, my week was complete crap. It was so bad. It gets a negative rating compared to since I've come to London, this is my worst week to date, because first of all, I think after the last podcast episode of the weekend, I was already feeling a bit I don't know where to go with my work, because the idea doesn't seem clear to me, and then I was just not sure how it's gonna progress, and then I felt really bad because I have this looming pressure over me where I'm okay, you need to do well for third year, you can't screw up this week. Otherwise, it's gonna screw up the rest of your weeks if you screw up this week,
Oh.
Yeah, so it was pretty bad, and then apart from that, actually, the way I resolved that problem was, I think I just talked to a lot of people in studio. I talked to my studio mates, I talked to our friend, and then it was really nice to get rid of that tension. And then I also emailed my tutors telling them, oh, I'm struggling, can you please help? I typed them a whole essay of what my current idea is, and it was really nice because they responded to me, and it put me back on kind of the right track. And then apart from that, the biggest thing that happened this week is I almost got scammed. I don't know why I'm so stupid, but long story short, it started with those parcel delivery texts, and it's already so stupid, right? You would never click into it, but I was actually expecting a parcel, so I clicked into it, provided my 16-digit number on my debit card, and then after that, I was oh no, it's under threat because the parcel never delivered. So I called my bank, and then they were okay, we're gonna have an investigation into this incident, and I was okay. And then the next day, somebody claiming to be the bank called me, and they were okay, the investigation, we're going through an investigation, and then we see some unusual activity in your bank account. And then I was oh no, someone's gonna take my money and stuff. And then the person was actually the scammer, and I don't know why I'm so stupid. I think my brain was also not functioning properly because I was so stressed out from the project. So I literally gave them all my codes. I was generating codes for them, and I told them the answer to my security questions for online banking. I don't know, now that I say it, it sounds so stupid, right?
Yeah.
But in the moment, I was oh no, it's it's real, it's happening, and it happened so fast. And then afterwards, I remember going they asked me to move all my money to a safe bank account that's my own, and then the money never transferred, and I just freaked out because there was no money on both ends, and I was just sitting in the studio crying. I remember crying for 30 minutes in the studio, that was pretty sad thing.
I mean, it sounds funny now, but it's actually kind of sad.
Yeah, it sounds funny now when I think, because nothing, okay, spoiler alert, nothing happened in the end, but it's just stupid. I called the bank right after the scammer called me. And then apparently during the phone call when I was generating codes for them, they tried to apply for a personal loan through my account. But then the bank was like, no, like they stopped it. Like they sent me a text message saying fraud alert during the phone call, but I didn't see it because I was on the phone call. But then after the phone call, I saw the text message. I was like, crap, I have to call the bank now. So then I called the bank like again, and then I told them everything that happened. I was like crying on the other end of the phone, you know, because I almost lost like 3,000 pounds. And then it was like so scary, and they were like, we can tell you're a little bit upset, miss. I'm like, yes. And then it was just, you know, they managed to stop the transaction on my end, and then they just froze all of my online banking. They like suspended it, so yeah, I have to wait for the card to come and change all my answers. But yeah, now I learned my lesson because it was such a traumatic experience. No, it's just, I'm just grateful like nothing actually happened in the end, but it was just like really scary, you know. So I hope no one is as stupid as me.
I remember that day, like, and then you're like, oh, can I like talk to you? Then I'm like, okay. Then you're like so sad. I was like, oh my gosh, this is a lot of drama for like an afternoon, you know. And it all happened like in the 1.5 hours before.
Yeah, I saw you like an hour before, and then like an hour something later, I was like, Yanshan, let's talk. I was already like
so much stuff happened.
Dead. Yeah.
Like, in between.
And then I just took the night off like from badminton and stuff because it was just too much. And then I slept at like 9:20 p.m. and I slept for like 10 hours and I was still tired the next day. I think the crying was just so taxing. Like it took so much of my energy.
Oh my days. To be fair, crying always does though.
Yeah.
Whenever I do cry.
But I'm just glad that like nothing happened and I learned my lesson now. I'm not going to be stupid in the future. Actually, I told this to my mom that day. She was like, this will be great podcast content. And then I told Dan as well, like my tutor, and he was like, this will be great podcast content. I was like, why is everyone like using the drama of my life to like make content? Anyways, so that was our week. But I had a good tutorial yesterday. I think like it made the ideas clearer. So
okay, that's good.
That's good.
How's
like,
the rest of your week?
Like since Wednesday, because this happened on Wednesday.
Okay, well, how was it before Wednesday?
Before Wednesday was just okay. Tuesday it got better because I talked to people, and then before like from like last episode, like Saturday to like Monday, it was like bad. But that was like internally wasn't because of the scam. And then Tuesday felt a little bit better, like midway to the day. Wednesday was like the big drop, like big crash, and then it was so bad. Thursday I kind of worked back up to doing my work, and then Friday tutorials was like pretty nice, I guess. Like I remember throughout the week I was like, oh my god, I produced nothing because it like my mental health was so bad. But then when I look back at everything I did on like the tutorial day, it's actually not bad, you know. I feel like
Of course, dude,
I just
you always think this.
I don't know if do you think that?
Yeah, I was like, wow, I did jack today. Then like if I put it together in my portfolio pages, then I'm like, actually it's okay, you know?
Yeah, when you look back, right, you're like, it's not bad. But yeah, I also talked to my mentees yesterday, which is like the group of people that you mentor for first year in architecture in Bartlett, and you kind of like make sure they're doing okay, settling in well. And like I talked to a lot of them about like setting a structure and then going into Bartlett, and it's nice to see them like kind of getting used to things, you know, compared to like last year's first years when everything was remote, and when I was first year. Yeah, it's just nice to talk to them. It was like a nice way to end the day.
But do you remember like second week is always like this time of the year is fine. Like I remember my big like crash in first year was like December. Like when you had to submit the portfolio. So that's January. Like in January I was like, wow, depressed. This is horrible.
Yeah, I was telling them, I was like, oh, when's your crit? And they were like, what's crit? And then
they didn't know what's crit. Oh my
half
days.
of them didn't know. And then I feel like I basically spoiled the entire first year to them. But I think Bartlett kind of changed up the structure of first year anyway. So I don't know how much I'm spoiling the thing. But they're going to have crits. Crits is like a must. But I don't know their portfolio submission or how that's going to go. But it's just nice to like reflect back on like my first year and see how they're doing now. So yeah, that was our week. Pretty nice. Pretty not nice. Nice for Yanshan, not nice for me. Yours is like alright, I think.
It was just alright. Like I was struggling with work, and also I was struggling with like balancing. We'll talk about this later, but like balancing like work, like because I do a nanny thing with like schoolwork.
You have a part-time job.
Yeah, but I quit it, so it's fine.
Okay, well I mean we'll talk about it later. But I mean just this week also being in studio, like I just appreciate talking to so many people in my unit, getting to know them, and then like the problems they were facing. Like even yesterday I had like 2 really good conversations with my unit mates, and they were going through some like bad stuff. Like they just had a rough week, okay? So it's nice to like share experiences. And it's nice because like when you're in studio, the energy kind of dissipates.
I think that's interesting that your unit is like so nice and
Your unit is not nice.
no, as in like your unit is like so like willing to talk about this kind of stuff and like supportive about it. I feel like units have different energies.
Yeah.
My unit energy is like go
Work,
go,
work,
get
work,
shit
work.
done, you know.
Okay. Well, I'm glad
Or maybe
mine-
it's just me. I don't know.
I don't know. Okay, let's move on to the
Okay.
mental health portion because we'll talk more about that later as well. So we wanted to talk about this because I think it's like an issue that's not really talked enough. I mean, like the Bartlett does like they send out occasional emails saying that you can talk to them, but I feel like even within like the studio themselves, like it's not really talked enough. I feel like it should be like a more bigger issue that people should discuss more. But I guess sometimes it's like a bit uncomfortable to talk about it when you're going through it, and also like in certain areas it might be like taboo to talk about these things because you're like, oh, that's like so self-centered to like talk about your feelings. You should be like more focused on your work type of thing. So yeah, it's nice to just talk about these things.
Okay, so I guess you could talk about like what stuff you face, because I feel like for me it's just in first year it was like getting used to the thing and then get used to the course and then like juggling doing living stuff like food, like cooking, and then co-curricular stuff because I was in cheerleading in first year with like school, and then I guess like also not being used to having to put in like so much effort to school, because I think we talked about this before, like how like at A levels it's like easier, like school is just easier in general
Because they have like a structure, they like set everything there for you, and then once you go home it's over. But then here you have to like organize not only school stuff but like stuff you do when you go home, or like halls.
Yeah, and also like the content is just, you can cram it, and then like if it's near your exam or whatever, you can just like study it then, you know. But then I feel like at uni it's like architecture is like constantly,
I think it's just like
effort.
our course.
well,
you know?
I feel like it could be uni in general, it's just more difficult.
Yeah, I think so. Like, I feel like sometimes like parents might think like uni is just like fine, like easy type of thing. But then like I feel like it evolved so much from like their generation that now it's like a lot. It's all on you. Like you do your own research and everything, and it's like, I don't know. I find it hard.
Probably real life is harder.
Oh no, I'm not
Probably.
ready for real life.
This is just us being bitches.
This is just prepping us for like real life, but yeah, anyways, I faced the same thing with you. Like I faced the same thing as you in year one. So like first year, like because I was joining a lot of like societies in uni, like I feel like you also, I don't know, like Bartlett never like supported this, but I felt like there was like an underlying culture of like spending long hours in the studio to do work, like which is toxic.
Which is still now though.
Yeah, it's still now, right? Like it's kind of toxic, you
It
know.
wasn't just a first year thing, it's always thing.
Okay, I guess it's an always thing. But like, okay, I felt it very strongly during first year. But I mean, it's good that the Bartlett doesn't open like 24/7 because like it doesn't open 24 hours. Because some studios like in the UK, like other unis, they open for 24 hours.
Really?
Yeah. The one I went to Bath, it opens for 24 hours.
But that'd be nice though, because I
No.
like working at night.
Okay, fine. But anyways, yeah, like Yan-chan said, I think it's an ongoing thing. But like I said last week, like my tutor also says that like it's really not expected of you to like spend such long hours. I remember in first year, like some of the people I know, they were like having such a fun time like pulling all-nighters together in like the student center, and I was like, no, I can't do that.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
We didn't participate in that. I think it's also like building on from that, it's also like getting used to how the Bartlett functions. I think that's what a lot of the first years are going through this year as well. Like you have to know, like at the beginning you don't know what's expected of you each week, right? Like how much work you're supposed to produce, like how are you supposed to show it? Do you like print it out? Do you show it on a computer? Like what does your tutor want, you know? You have to like get used to all of these things in the beginning while juggling all of the, you know, getting groceries, doing laundry, making sure your like flat is like not in a state of mess, I guess. So you have to like balance everything, which is like really hard, which is why I always say this, because after my first tutorial I just cried.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. Didn't I tell you this all the time? I said I cried after my first ever tutorial in Bartlett.
What did they say?
Okay,
Like,
like
they're usually very nice in the
no,
first tutorial.
actually, there's nothing. It's not my tutor's fault at all. Like he was actually so nice to me. Like he was telling me the things I should do for the next tutorial, and he laid them all out for me. But the thing is, I think I was just super overwhelmed by like everything happening all at once. Like I have to go home, do this, do that, and then I have to do okay, in my mind at the time after the tutorial, I felt like I have to do so much stuff. I have to get all these materials and do all these models and for like next tutorial. So it got so overwhelming. I was like, in the tutorial, I was like, yeah, that's great. And then afterwards, I just like cried in the corner because it was like, it was too much for me, I think. And then after I got myself together, I was like, okay, it's manageable. Like I can do it. And then like, that's how it went from there. So yeah, it's kind of the same feeling I felt this year. Like right at the beginning of the week, I felt like I have to juggle so many things.
I feel like it always comes at the start of the year.
Rough start.
You.
Okay, maybe not you then.
For me, it comes when I have to submit something and I
Yeah,
have nothing to submit.
I feel like our mood graphs like differ. Like you have dips when I'm not like having a dip, which is good. Like we like support each other.
Yeah, it's not gonna be worse.
Yeah. And then I think the main thing that made my mental health really bad in first year was like homesickness. I know yours is not as strong as mine, but like it was really bad for me. Like I remember like crying during this episode is just like Glory crying. Like it's just until now it's just me crying. But I remember crying during our field trip to Rome. Like I don't know if you remember because I was like I just missed my mom, like my parents so much, and it was just hard because I felt like it was like a change between getting used to going back to a home with like no parents.
From Christmas, right? Because Rome was after Christmas.
Oh yeah, it was all because we went back home during Christmas, and then it was like a big dip after you go straight to UK and studying again. So yeah, did you have homesickness issues?
Not really, but I was sad in January after the Rome trip because of the submission though. Not after the Rome trip, before the Rome trip.
Okay.
Yeah, before because of the submission and because I had gone back for Christmas and I had done the drag at home. Then I came back, I had to like do it.
Yeah, I remember us doing the portfolio together on A1 pieces of paper, and you were like just trying like to finish it. But I'm so
happy that like now, like I'm kind of happy that second year happened online because
it's all
in
digital.
a way because it's all digital, and now like my digital portfolio is fine. Like I don't have to like print this shit out. It's like that's so irritating.
No, yeah, it's the same for me. Honestly, I feel like it's just I don't like physical portfolios because it wastes paper, and
I don't think to carry it around.
Yeah, and I think I'm just very big on like veganism, environmental, like try to go low waste as possible, like save the environment. Anyways, so I just don't like printing out so many pieces of paper when they're gonna change. Like your tutor's gonna look at it and be like, yeah, I don't like this, and then you have to like change it all over again and print it out again, and that just seems so wasteful to me. But yeah. Anyways, so how was second year for you? We kind of talked about this in the like first ever episode, but I guess we can like hone in on like the main parts of like bad mental health parts of second year because it's all remote.
Yeah. Well, second year was bad because like you couldn't go in the studio, and then it was like you couldn't talk about your stuff, and then it just like felt like you were designing in a vacuum in a way where it was like you couldn't get inspiration for anything. And then also for the second half of second year, I stayed by myself in London, and that was a bit like not very nice. I mean, like it was fine because it was good for me personally to like experience it and also to grow and whatnot and take care of the flat and stuff. But then it was also like not great for design.
Yeah, same. It's just I guess it's the same theme for the both of us. It's like no one to talk to, and then like if you want to talk about the project, like you have to like make an extra effort to like talk about it. Whereas in studio, everyone comes around. You're like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? And then you talk about the project. So I guess that's like the studio culture that we're missing. And it's so much harder to form like a unit bond as well because everything was remote. Like I feel like I don't even know like 80% of the people in my unit from last year. Like I know them. I know who they are. I know their names and what they look like. But you don't really know them. Yeah, and
even the tutors, like I don't know.
Yeah, even the tutors, because when you're in person, it's just so much things come out so naturally, and then on Zoom, it's just you have to mute, unmute, and you just talk what you need to say, and then you move on. But usually the good parts of the conversation is what you don't really need to say, and then that sparks something, the other thing is like closing the camera, like when you have tutorial days or when you have tutorials or when you're having like anything in general. Like, I really like the friction of, like, going to a place and then, like, ending it. You have those small moments where you just talk to people and then you move on from that event. But then at home when you're just, like, on a computer, it's always just, like, you turn off the camera and then, like, that's it. Like, you're by yourself again. Like, it ended in, like, 1 second. And then you have that sense of dread that, like, happens right after you turn off your camera, And then I don't know if you feel
like I don't know. It's very different, but it's interesting.
I taught this. I actually discussed this with my unit mate yesterday, and she was like, she felt the same thing when you like turn off your camera and then like that's it.
Really? I get so relieved. I'm like, oh my god, it's over. Now I can chill for like an hour.
But what if you're like so stressed about the tutorial and then you're like, okay, turn it off, and then you're like, okay, it's just me and myself and all my like sense of dread thoughts.
Okay, no, I don't.
No. We're just different. Yeah, but it's after tutorial, you don't have anyone to discuss your project with, right? But then like say yesterday when I had tutorials,
right.
You discuss it with people, and then if you're really stressed out after like say like a bad tutorial, then you let the negative energy like dissipate throughout the studio, and then you feel a lot better and lighter when you go home. You're like, can you not relate?
I don't
to
like
this?
talking about my project as much as you do.
I don't. Okay, I don't actually. I don't talk about it a lot.
Okay, but I don't really like talking about stuff in general. I like to like not stuff in general. I don't really like talking about my project.
Why?
I like to think about it myself.
But then you might get like inspo from other people.
Yeah, I might, but I also like, I don't know, like it's just more effort. I don't know. It's like right after the tutorial, I want to like digest what they say.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Do you immediately start working after tutorial, or do you like chill?
I start googling stuff. Like I chill though. I always like get a snack or make tea.
Oh, I just do stuff that's not related to tutorial because I need to take a break from everything. I mean, yesterday after the tutorial, because I needed to wait all the way until my mentee meeting, so I just did history. I was like, I'm chilling, and then they were like, oh my god, history is so chill, and I'm just reading like so dense readings for like 3 hours. So I guess that's not chill, but yeah, it's just nice to talk to people. I mean, it doesn't have to be about your project. It can just be like other things, you know? Because I feel like because of the scam I cried in the studio, I feel like
everyone's close to you now.
No, that's not what I was trying to say. It's just I feel like I got better quickly compared to like if I was at home alone and I was just like depressed crying by myself. That would have been like quite bad.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, so then then after that we can talk about like how we got help for it. So mine was more as a chillax method of going for UCL free counselling. It was free, and then it was just like because I was like, oh, I should probably talk to someone about feeling low. This is in second half, and then so you apply to UCL, and then you wait to get referred to like an external counselling service called Care First. Then after that you get a counsellor like 4 weeks later. But my problem is that like, I was sad now, and then I got a counsellor 4 weeks later. So it wasn't like super helpful as it would have been if I got it on the spot. So then, and also I feel like the counsellor wasn't like the right fit for me, but that's just probably like the one that I got because I feel like she didn't really relate to my experiences or like sympathize that much. Because I guess it's like my problems are not big or universal problems. Like it's not like relationship problems or like friendship drama. It's just like feeling like you're not good enough for work, and all she could say was kind of like, oh yeah, you're like a perfectionist, but you know, just
chill.
Yeah. Like, thanks, but you know.
I mean, I guess like the thing with UCL counseling is that they kind of make it clear that they're not professional counselors. Like it's not like actual therapy. It's just because it's a free service. It's just like for people to, I guess, go when you have like kind of problems, but like not like clinical diagnosed mental health illnesses, you know? So I guess that's probably why it's delayed by like 4 weeks for you, which I guess doesn't, well, that's kind of bad. Like you want to do it now, but yeah, I guess that's all right. I mean, online I saw that they had same day appointments, but I don't know how reliable that is. But I never tried UCL counseling because I don't know, it seems very like surface level to me. It might not be, I don't know, but like even from what you said, like you said it wasn't like particularly helpful in like actually pinpointing your issues. So but for me, like I went to counseling outside like twice because I had a lot of like issues to work through. Like I feel like I did have depression at like one point, probably like anxiety. It was like pretty bad. So I did have to go to like counseling from outside, and like my experience is that like it's helpful. The only thing is that if like I wish everyone could do counseling, like if the world could actually provide that, but obviously like it's a lot of like like you need to have the financial support to do it. before you go for it. So I actually went to two. The first one, like, I had to pay, and the second one was like surprisingly free. But that
When
one,
did you go for the first one? Like,
the
what
first
year?
the first one was around 2018, I think. Both of them were in Hong Kong. Like, I went to both of them, like, okay, one was before uni, one was during uni, but it was like second year. So the first one was like, I had to pay for it, and it was in 2018, so that was before uni. And then I just thought it was nice to have someone to talk to about like your problems, like as a third party that's not involved in everything, because like they don't have like a preconceived notion of how you are as a person, right? And there's no like difficult like relations between you and this person. They're just seeing you from like their point of view, and then you can talk to them about anything, and like you won't get judged for it. So I feel like that's really good. And then we worked through a lot of the things like self-blame that I put on myself, and then we did some like really cool like visualization exercises and like like analyzing the problems that I had, and that was pretty nice, and just having someone to talk to. And then I went to uni after that. But then I feel like there is still this underlying problem that was like never resolved. So, but to be fair, like mental health problems, you never really resolve them, right? So, and then during second year, during the lockdown, that's when I realized things were like actually really bad. Because I feel like when I go to uni during first year, it was very like a distraction. Like it distracted me away from all of my negative thoughts, because everything was happening. Like there was so much happening and happening so fast, like the project, like going to events, joining societies, like all of these things were kind of distracting me from like an underlying problem. But then when COVID hit and like things were like during lockdown, I feel like that's when everything kind of like came out, and it was like pretty bad. So I was like, maybe I should go back into counseling. And then it was really lucky, like I'm really grateful for it, that I found this place in Hong Kong that does counseling for free, because it's supported by like Li Ka-shing in Hong Kong. So people who go to that service like doesn't need to pay for anything, which is really good. But the only thing is like you have 8 to 12 sessions, which is like more than enough, to be honest, like for me at least. And it was really nice to see them like go through issues, and like because that particular place uses like Buddhist teachings, but they're not trying to like make you into a Buddhist. They're just using the teachings from like Buddhism to like go through your problems, which is actually really nice. Like it's a really zen thing. And then you do like meditation and stuff, which is like really good. And then like each session we work through like issues I have, and then you kind of like the most important thing I got from it was like recognizing that like good has so many aspects, and it's like not just work related, you know, because I feel like for the both of us, because we're such perfectionists, we put so much of our self-worth on the grades we get and like the projects we're doing right now in school. But it's also recognizing that there's so many other aspects that makes you who you are, and that's not the only thing that defines like if you're good enough and like your worth, you know. And yeah, it's just really helpful in like recognizing the thought patterns of like why I'm thinking the way I do, and how that framed me right now as a person from like events in the past, I think. Yeah. I mean, I talked to you about it too, right? And then like you thought it was quite nice for me.
Yeah, I thought the counseling was interesting because it's sort of like it teaches you new strategies to deal with stuff.
Yeah.
Even if they're not all helpful.
Yeah. I mean, after each session, I just feel like quite relieved. And like I remember the last session, I was like so sad that it's ending, but I'm just glad that I was able to go through the journey and then like kind of, you know, bring this new mindset into like school. Which is why I feel like this week, even though I had a really bad week, like I don't think it would have been as bad as like say if I was in first year, because I feel like in first year I didn't have the mindset like of how to deal with these things, and it would have been like so
I think
bad.
it's the same for everyone though. Like, you know, you learn stuff.
You just learn stuff as you grow. It's the same, like you kind of learn things along the way in uni as well. Like you start off as like being this like delicate flower at the beginning of uni. Okay, that's not everyone, but like I feel like for me it was, because I was very like I didn't know anything, you know. Yeah. So now that we're both not actually doing counseling at the moment, I mean it's just kind of we're just kind of on our own, like working through life and school and things. So I mean it's really common to get a bad week when you study architecture and doing a project. When you kind of like hit a block, it's really common to feel like really bad. So like what are some of your coping strategies, you know, if you don't do counseling?
I think for me it's like mainly managing my time, because I get distracted very easily by like friends, and then by like going out or like doing things, even like not even going out. I don't even go out often. It's just like going out, like literally going out, like going to shopping or like going for dinner.
I still feel like you go out more than me though.
Yeah, but I don't even go out like regularly though, like clubbing. I mean,
Okay,
kind of
okay,
thing.
okay.
But like, yeah, going out like as in just normally going out, and then also like going, yeah, and I get distracted by friends easily. So I think for me, it's like managing my time. Yeah, like just making sure that like I have enough time to do everything today. So as I mentioned just now, like I had a part-time job this year, but then because it's like a few odd jobs here and there, so I quit some of them recently, and that was really good for me. Like.
Yeah.
Because even though the money would be nice, but it's also like just because like there's not enough time or mental energy in a day to like.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that what I learned also was that I need to portion out my time, but also my mental like reserves.
Downtime. Like.
Mm-hmm. So like even when we're talking about going to studio, sometimes going to studio takes too much out of me because I have to interact with people and talk about my project and like be aware of people around me in general. So I have to like learn how to balance that with going in when I feel like it, and with like doing stuff that for myself, like going to the gym.
Yeah, because even like back then when you were telling me about like your part-time job, I was like, how are you doing all of this like all at once? Because I would see you in studio and then you would be like, okay, I have to go now, and I'm like, why? And then you're like, I have to like do my job, like part-time job nannying. And I was like, how are you doing all of this? And then after your job, you would like continue working again. I can't do that. But I mean, obviously the money would be nice, but it's just, I don't know, like I wouldn't be able to do that. But I think now it's good that you have a mindset of like how much you can juggle and like which one is like has more priority over the other. Because I think you made this, like you did the same thing in year one where you did like, cheerleading and then like your like other societies, and it was just piling on your work.
Yeah,
and then
I quit.
Yeah.
same
least-
pattern.
I mean, at least you had the experience of doing it, and then you like recognized that it was like it was like too much on your plate, and then you.
Because also like it's not worth doing if you like can't put yourself in it 100%.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I think the main issue for me that I have to cope with is just like bad thoughts. Like, I feel like my time management, okay, this is like not a flex, but I feel like my time management is probably better than yours.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the thing I do is like I follow the structure, right? Like I follow the structure of like how my day is gonna go. I try to follow it as much as possible. Like I wake up early, go to the gym, and then go to studio, and then like spend like 9 to 10 hours there, and then go home, cook dinner, and then like sleep. That's usually my daily structure, unless like I have events, meet up with friends, and then I change that schedule up. But that's kind of like my base schedule for like every day apart from the weekends. And then I try to follow that as much as possible. And then I also do meal prepping, so I just cook everything like say on Monday, and then that would be like last me to Wednesday, and then cook again on like Wednesday or Thursday, and then that will last me to the weekend. So it's like there's not much like surprise elements, I guess. It's not like, okay, now I have time so I can like do this, because I feel like you do this thing with gym where like say 4 o'clock in the studio, you're like, I have to go to the gym now. And then I was like, why don't you just find a time where
different, because like I can't do that. Like I don't even like the fact that like knowing that I have all my meals prep also makes me sad. Like,
why?
Because it's like then now I have to eat this thing again. Okay. And now it's like, what if I want to eat something else? I think it's like different from.
Okay, yeah, I think it just varies. Like you just have to find what you like doing. I mean, because right now you already like quit stuff that you don't need. So like if it works for you now, then I think it's fine. Because you mean you had an alright week too. Yeah. It's not like
It's not like even with the gym, it's like I need it now because I need it now though. Like it's like
you're very like spontaneous. I'm very like plan ahead.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the difference. And then the other thing is just kind of like damage control when something really bad happens, and that like takes a toll on like my feelings of like self-worth and like mental health. It's just I feel like I need to learn to be able to like talk about it when I'm going through it, because
right. That's actually quite a good point, because you always talk about it in retrospect.
I always talk about it after, like, even this episode when you were telling me to, like, let's talk about mental health, Gloria, and I was like, no, I had a really bad week. I don't want to talk about it. Like, it's so hard. But then, like, I'm like...
You talk about it in studio.
Yeah, okay. So... Because everyone can see me, like, crying. So, like, I have to talk about it. And I kind of, like, low-key force myself. I'm like, no, Gloria, you have to, like, talk about it. You can't just, like, hold it all in. You have to like let it out, and then that's when the negative energy like dissipates, but I just feel like I have to talk about it, talk to friends about it, even like about the project when I feel like I'm in a rut. Like you just have to voice it out. I feel like emailing my tutors was like a really good thing to do, because even last year when I was feeling really stuck, I feel like I spent so much time just like it gets in my head, you know, and I'm like, oh no, what do I do?
Yeah.
How do I make it good? Make it good? And it's so like damaging. So I have to talk to someone about it. Otherwise, I'll like internally explode with my thoughts. So yeah, just damage control, I think.
That's interesting because
You don't go through that.
I think I do, but like my strategy is always like quit stuff and leave. And so like if I commit to too many things, then I quit stuff and then I make time for it and then I force myself to like do it. I don't know.
Is it like all of your problems come from like doing too many things?
Yeah.
Okay, because that, you see, that's different from me. Like I feel like all my problems just comes from like if one thing goes wrong from like the tower of perfection, I will like spiral out of control and I will be like, no. Do you not have that? I mean, you're perfectionist. You're
I'm not
perfectionist.
as perfectionist as you though.
Okay, fine.
But yeah.
And you're more chill anyways, like as a person, I feel like.
That's a good point as well, like to learn to chill for you. I think I am very capable of chilling. But I think even for me, like sometimes being able to step back from your project and be like, yeah, it doesn't define me, it's not related to me, and it's I have so many other things going for myself.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I talked to my unit mate about this, and then he was like, when I was like feeling really crap this week, and he was like, take your work seriously, but don't take yourself seriously. It's like when you're doing your work,
that's
like
quite good.
he was like, when you're doing your work, you just focus on your work, and then when you leave the studio, you just like focus on being Glory, you know. And then like it, like not everything is like about the piece of work, because this week was so damaging because all of my free time I'll be walking on the streets and I'll be thinking about my project, and I'm like, how do I make it better? How do I make it better? And it's just like so tiring. Like I get a headache from like thinking so much, you know, just quite bad. So moving forward, I'm gonna like.
Well, that's like the point of like being creative or going to a creative course also, right? Or like not the point, but like that's one of the main features, and that's why we like it also, because like it's something that you can think about all the time, and that like, you know, if you put in effort that it will get better. And then you also know that like sometimes you need to like struggle through a problem or like to try different things, and they all turn out shitty for something good to come out of it. And I think that's like part of it that I enjoy as well. I enjoy that like if I'm out of the studio, if I just think about my project, then it'll be like, wow, I can work on this. Like it feels like very personal to me, and I don't know, that's why I chose a creative course.
Yeah, I mean, I do like the fact that like it's a very personal thing. Like your project will always link to you in some way, so that's really nice, and you can think about it often, you know. And like the other point I wanted to make is that like voicing your opinions and thoughts out, because like it's like not even like talking to friends about it, like it's also like people in the Bartlett, like someone's probably going through the same thing as you, or like you went through the same thing that someone else is going through, and it's just like knowing for a fact that like you're not alone, which was yesterday when I talked to two of the people in my unit who were like had a rough week, and it's just letting them know that, you know, I had a rough week too, like we're kind of going through the same thing, so it's okay. Like 1 week is not gonna like, you know,
you
derail like your entire thing in the grand scheme of things.
It's so interesting because I feel like your problems that you need to like take a step back, but problems that I need to like care more generally about school.
That's why we're like a good balance, I guess. Like I keep you in check, and then you're like, Glory, you need to chill, you know.
I guess so. Because I feel like even though talking to people helps sometimes, for me at least, usually the solution is like put your head down and work, which is different from you, I think. Because you don't like talking about it. I don't know, like to your mom, or I don't know.
What do you mean? I like talking to my mom about my problems.
That's true, you do. You're like
Yeah.
that close.
Actually, there was like another point I wanted to make from like that I got yesterday from tutorials, is that they were like, there's my tutor Dan, like he had this quote, I forgot who it's from, sorry. It's there's meaning before and after the drawing, but there's no meaning like during the drawing.
Whoa.
Kind of thing. It's like pretty deep. Like I feel like he was like, I didn't get it in the beginning, now I get it. I feel like I kind of get it, but like I don't really get it. It's almost like there's like a start and ending point to your drawing, and then you give it meaning before that. But then when you're doing, because this year I want to be very analog, so I'm just doing a lot of pencil drawing. And it's like when you're actually so immersed in like doing the work, you just kind of like, things kind of like disappear around you, you know, like you're just focusing on the piece of work you're doing. And then according to Dan, like there's like a part of your brain that works that doesn't work when you're not doing that piece of work, because it's like very intuitive, like you make decisions like while you're doing it, and then that kind of like stimulates a part of your brain that's not usually stimulated, and you just like keep doing it, and then you like, you know, forget about, like, I don't know if that's the same for you.
Like flow, you mean? Like go into flow.
Like you're very in the zone.
Yeah.
And then, you have that?
I have that when I paint.
You're just very
Yeah.
like in it, right?
Yeah.
It's, I
I
guess.
have it sometimes when I not draw. My drawing is not the best. I have it when I model sometimes as well.
Yeah. That's why, like, this year, I guess the project's very personal, but it's gonna be like kind of like mental health, and like how, for me, my project's gonna be about mental health, and then like how the drawing itself also relates to like the act of drawing itself kind of relates back to like mental health and like a form of like therapy kind of thing. Anyways, I won't go too in depth into it because like
Portfolio presentation.
portfolio presentation is my therapy. Yeah, but I won't go too much in depth into it because the ideas is still not like very clear. But
Do you think like YouTube and stuff is also good like therapy?
YouTuber stuff,
YouTube and stuff.
like making
videos,
making
yeah.
content for YouTube. Yeah, I do think so. I mean, yesterday after tutorials, I just went home and then like edit videos and then like uploaded this one video. It's nice to like move away from like Bartlett work, because I think the thing also, like my tutor said yesterday, is like in an ideal situation you would just keep working on your piece of work and like make decisions as you go, but because we're in such an academic setting, you always have people giving you feedback. You're like, you need to meet all these requirements from like the Royal RIBA, like Royal Institute of British Architects, and then you need like the Bartlett to approve what you're doing. So you have to meet all these standards, but like, you know, sometimes you just want to like enjoy the piece of work. So it's like, how can you like do a piece of work under meeting all these requirements? And it's just different when you're making content for YouTube, because, you know, there's not as much like requirement. Okay, there is like copyright or whatever, but like creative wise, it's very free. Like you do what you want, and like you said last time, I know what the output is. I can see it in advance, so it's like, it's kind of therapeutic for me to like, you know, work step by step and work towards that goal, you know, film parts of your day and then like build up the video, like the edited video as you go. But I guess that's also the fun part of doing a project at the Bartlett, where you don't know what the end goal is going to look like and you just keep changing
Like
it as
you wouldn't
go.
want that to be how architecture as a course works. Well, I wouldn't want that, because
you want it to be clear?
I wouldn't want it to be so clear.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's the good part
I
of
agree
it.
with you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't want it to be so clear.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying like YouTube is like a good contrast to that, because
Yeah.
you know what the end goal would look like. You can't have too much of one thing. You need like both, you know, like you need like exploring the project and also like kind of knowing what you're doing. Yeah. Anything to add?
Not really.
Okay. I mean, the most important thing for us is just, I don't know, we can talk to each other, keep each other in check.
Getting help if you need it.
Yeah, getting help if you need it, I think is a big one. I mean, like if you're in uni, they give out free counseling service. Just like make the most out of what you have in uni, and then talk to your friends about it. Like for me, at least, maybe not Yanshan, like voicing out your thoughts to other people might be useful too. So yeah, and then like if time management is a big thing, like look at like your commitments, because I know people in uni tend to put too much stuff on their plate, so it's just like looking through your commitments, which one has high priority, and then like work through all of that. And then yeah, sometimes the struggle is just, you just have to go through it. It's just part of the project, maybe part of your course. Doesn't necessarily have to be a creative course or architecture, but just like make the most out of it. And anything you go through makes you like a stronger person of like who you are today and in the future. Like it will all come back to you and like work out for you in the end, you know. Yeah, that's all I want to say.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much for listening to this episode, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.